Well, you may not know, but there's some things that gnaw on you worse than death. Think about that. This is thoughts while thinking, and these opinions are mine. And like Will Rogers says, one party is worse than the other in Congress. Well, right now I think one party has got more worse than the other one. It looks like it, and because that's all they can do is holler white supremacy and black and against the cops and white supremacy and Black Lives Matter and critical race theory. It's interesting to see the difference in how it's progressed over the last 50 years. And right now, we thought that we had heaven on earth and so is hell. But right now, we're giving the soul of America to the devil. It looks like that's where it's headed. And we've got these people in Washington that appear like they don't know what they're doing, but they're being led by a great conspiracy and treason. They're looking at you in that way. And it's all about the deep swamp. We've got that deep swamp, and it's no longer a theory. It's about the real. And the freedom of the press is a freedom of privilege that no country could forego. Well, that is true, but right now our press and media and big tech is a ton of the government. They're working against us, and they're being brought about by outside powers, and they're working through one party in Congress, and they're making it worse for our life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And we can overpower them with hunger and stuff like that, but they're doing the same thing. So we are in a mess right now. We got to get rid of being called racist and life matters and Black Lives Matter and race theory and all of that. We got to get back to thinking about life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And it's no longer a theory. It's here. We know about it. It's a Department of Deep State, and they're working against your freedom. And part of it's because you can't fire a government employee. They're passed from one administration to the other, carrying their extreme beliefs with them and working behind it in the deep state. Now you got to think about that. Right now, the deep state knows what you're doing. They know what you bought. They know where you bought it. They know why you bought it. And they are with you always. I'm telling you, it's there. And it's all because of this guy here. He has brought all this about. His aim is to bring down America through its economy, bring it down to where he can make another billions. And he's doing it through the deep state. Now think about that a little bit. We're working on that. And our present administration is all working with him, and he's pulling their strings, it appears. And these theories are mine, but we got to get back to thinking about treason. And these people ought to be tried for treason. We used to hang people for treason. We used to put them in the firing squad for treason. But now we don't even mention treason. And that's because of the deep state's changed your thinking. And treason is a negative word. It's a racist word, I guess. I don't know. But they're gaslighting us from day to day and giving us the propaganda that we're buying down the line. And each time we take a bite of it, we lose a freedom. And it's all for the one world government and one peace. And the United States is a big target because they bring down the United States, the rest of them will fall like dominoes. And the deep state is where they're working, and we tried to drain it here a while back, and we got clobbered, and they did it through false votes, and now that our economy is about to break, and they're hollering, "Oh, it's okay, it's under control," and we're heading down that lane of a collapsed government, and it started when they started taking over our free enterprise and shutting down our energy. And think about that. That's fascism. The government has total control of your businesses. Think about it. That's fascism. And freedom has become a commodity whose availability is paradoxically keep society in check. A threat of loss seems to enable us to tolerate its imposition. Well, we're losing our liberty, and we can't tolerate it. We got to work for it. We got to get out there and make it work. We've got to keep it moving. And the loss of liberty to a generous mind is worse than death. That's a dictator taking over and making a slave out of you. And I want my freedom. And it all started when they shut down the businesses a few years ago with this virus deal. And they give us false information. They gaslighted us. They confused us. And they separated us. And they caused us to lose our liberties. And to practice death is to practice freedom. And the man who has learned how to die has unlearned to be a slave. Now we got to go back to that. We know how to die. We can die for our liberties. As once said, give me liberty or give me death. And that's where we're thinking. And one of our last statesmen, President Kennedy, said there's a plot to enslave every man, woman, and child in America. And he is going to expose it before he left office. That was 7 days before he was assassinated and executed by the deep state. Now think about how long that's been going on. And there's worse things worse than war. It's cowardice, betrayal, and selfishness. Hemingway said that a few years ago. And that betrayal of our liberties is one of them. And the lack of economic freedom could be the major loss of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And we don't have economic freedom anymore. The IRS is in control, and the government is in control. They did away with your fossil fuels, and they're getting the green going to heading toward that one world government. And when you abandon freedom to achieve security, you lose both, and you deserve neither. Now Jefferson said that, and we quoted him a time or two in one these videos a few weeks ago. So we got to get back to think about what Jefferson said. And I'm not afraid of terrorism. I'm afraid of losing my life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That's what I'm afraid of. I'm afraid of losing my freedom. And, our freedom is measured by the things that we can forego, and we can't forego anything. Government has control every aspect of our lives. And when we get a glimpse of freedom, we wish for it. And when we get a glimpse of death, we don't want it. But sometimes we have to have both. And we got to get back to our fighting for our freedom. And security is no replacement for liberty. Our liberty is our security. We got to make it work for us. And the only way to deal with an unfree world is to become absolutely free. And your existence is the very act of a rebellion. Now think about it. We got to rebel, and we got to get back to it. And President Reagan said, freedom is never more than one generation away. We didn't pass it to our children in the bloodstream. It must be fought for, protected, and handed down to them in the same way it does each generation. And we didn't do that on our last generation, and they're losing our government. They're losing our freedom. And, when you're dead and you forgot to delete your browsing history, you got to get up and do something about it. And that's my thoughts while thinking. And these opinions is mine, and it's adios amigos, and we'll see you on the flip side.